Welcome to the Nugget Drop, where I'm flying solo to drop nuggets of truth, faith, healing, and transformation to help you release every single thing.
You keep saying, I can handle it, but I have a question. Who told you that because you can, you should? Who told you you have to carry it? Everybody's everything. You know you are the fixer, the dependable one, the one everybody calls, the one who figures it out. But who's carrying you? We need to talk about that. Today on the Nugget Drop, we're talking about who told you it was yours to carry. Hey y'all, it's Renee Young Blake, the Nugget Dropper, founder of the R.E.S.T movement, where we release every single thing. Welcome to the Nugget Drop, a part of the R.E.S.T movement podcast where I'm flying solo to drop nuggets of truth, faith, healing, and transformation. So grab your buckets because it's time to collect some nuggets. Who is she? She's dependable. She's responsible, she's capable, and because she has demonstrated that she can, people have learned that they can hand things to her, but eventually capability can become captivity. When you don't know what belongs to you and what doesn't, just because I have the capacity to carry, it doesn't mean I have the calling to carry it. So some of you are asking God to give you strength to carry something He's been trying to get you to put down. You're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, and you're praying, Lord, help me carry all of this. But what if God answered, it isn't more strength? What if His answer is, put it down? Put it down, because everything you're capable of carrying isn't necessarily something you have been called to carry. So today, I have a question for you. Who told you it was yours? We need to think about, how did it get in our hands? Sometimes nobody actually asked us to carry it. We volunteer. We saw a problem and stepped in. We anticipated somebody's needs. We didn't trust them to handle it. We didn't want them to struggle. Or maybe we just were afraid of what would happen if we didn't fix it. When did you become the person everybody expects to handle everything? You need to consider that. We need to uproot that. Did somebody actually ask you to carry it? Or did you automatically pick it up? Come on, ask yourself, what happens inside of you when you see someone you love struggling? I call it the God complex, because some of us run to the rescue of people over and over again. And the reason why it keeps happening over and over again is because they never get a chance to learn the lesson that God is trying to teach. And we're constantly being burned out. We're constantly stressed out because we're trying to do something that God never asked us to do. Did you feel responsible for fixing the problem? What is the root? And you fixing a problem you didn't even create. When somebody is upset, do you feel immediately like you're responsible for making them feel better? Guilty. What are you actually carrying today that nobody actually assigned to you? You're stressed out. Why? And who taught you that loving somebody means carrying what belongs to them? Helping somebody carry something is different from taking ownership over it. And sometimes our help, what we do, we take over. We don't allow them to even, it's like raising our children and not allowing them to fall down so that they can see, if I fall down, I can get back up again. We race to pick them up. We race to heal the wound instead of allowing them to feel a little pressure, knowing that if they watch and see, soon that little boo-boo will be healed. There may be a scab to remind them of the incident. So maybe they'll never do it again. But we want to handle everything, and we wonder why God is allowing us to be burned out. He's trying to get our attention because He's been telling us for a long time to do what? Put it down. So here's something we don't contemplate: the weight of being the strong one. Sometimes carrying becomes a part of who we believe we are. I've always been a strong one. Everybody depends on me. If I don't do it, it won't get done. But what happens when being needed becomes necessary to your identity? That means if for some reason you stop being helpful and sometimes being coming to the rescue, what happens inside of you when you no longer are fixing it? Who will you become? Has that become so much of your identity that you don't know who you are if you pull back and allow God to be God in people's life? I know you don't want to hear that it's that God complex, and I'm talking a little G. I know you don't want to hear that you're stepping in the place of God many times and rescuing people out of their situation, and God never called you to carry their burden. Because guess what? You don't just fix it, you carry the load with them. You don't just fix it. Sometimes you carry the whole load and they go on about their business fancy free, and you're still carrying what they should have been carrying. Do you even know how to receive help, or do you only know how to give it? You know what I can't stand? I can't stand somebody who's always running around blessing, but can't stand for nobody to bless them back. How dare you block my blessing? Because the Bible, actually, is that a Bible verse? You're blessed to be a blessing, or is that just something we know that God, I don't know. But I say it all the time. We are blessed to be a blessing. It's got to be a verse. It's got to be a scripture. I'm going to have to find it. But all I'm saying to you is some of us want to help all the time. We want to help. And the moment that somebody offers help for us, we don't like to receive it back because we have that God complex. We have to fix everything. We have to be all to everybody. And that's not what God is saying he wants us to do. Does saying I can't do that make you feel guilty? From a recovered people pleaser, I can tell you there were times when people call on me, and when I learned to say no, oh my gosh, it almost feels like somebody stabbed me. Gut punch, because I am so accustomed to running to the rescue. I'm so accustomed to hearing an incident, hearing something going on, and I am Johnny on the spot. I'm the first responder on the scene, like I'm the paramedic. Doesn't have to be illness. It could be any trauma. It could be anything going on, and I'm the first person to show up. And I always get the call because what people know about me is I'll show up for them. I don't feel guilty anymore because God taught me something. He said, I'm trying to teach them something and you keep interfering. Oh, he don't have to tell me but once. Are you afraid what people will think differently of you if you're unavailable? Have you confused being dependable with being responsible for everybody? Have you built relationships where your primary value is what you do for people? What has being the strong one cost you? It's cost you your sleep. It's cost you your peace. It has stressed you out. You have no time for you. You don't even consider you in the process. You don't even think about your own needs. You've forgotten how to even know what you need and even to ask because you are always the rescuer. God is saying to you today, put it down. Put it down. Listen, I know it for some of us, it is how we demonstrate our strength. But strength isn't proven by how much you can carry. Sometimes strength is demonstrated by what you're finally willing to put down. What we have to realize is some of that responsibility belongs to them. It's their choices it's their consequences, it's their healing, it's their finances, it's their marriage, it's their boundaries, it's their relationship with God, it's their disappointment. It's their responsibility. Say it with me. It's their responsibility. You can't support people without assuming responsibility for their lives. Because once you know something, you can't let it go. Are you carrying consequences for decisions somebody else keeps making? How many times has the same person come back to you to borrow money? I used to advise people when giving money, first and foremost, if you're going to loan money, make sure that it's money that you can afford to lose. Because if they had to borrow it, most likely you're not going to get it back. Because if they needed it, why can't they save for it, unless it's an emergency? And many times it's not an emergency. Even still, you loan them the money, and then you become the enemy because you want your money back. It's not helping them because, again, now they're going to have to figure out how to pay you back, and it's more burden for them. Then they come back again, asking for the same thing. At this point, one of the other things that I would say to people is, I have a right to ask questions. Why don't you have the money? And please don't ask me for money when you have a grown man in your home. I'm not going to do it. I don't take care of grown men, except I would take care of my husband hands down any day, because that's my husband. I'm not taking care of yours or your significant other. Okay, I digress. I'm getting a little off topic, but maybe that was for somebody, because somebody is taking care of somebody else's home while you're taking care of your own home. And God said, put it down. Are you working harder for someone else's healing than they are? You want more for them than they want for themselves? How will that ever work? Because you will find that there are so many people who keep coming to you because you desire more for them. It sounds good when you're pouring into them. It tickles their ears. They feel so supportive, and you sound so supportive, until the next time they do the same exact thing and they're calling you again to bail them out. And you're working harder than they are. They're not even working at it. They don't have to, because you keep figuring it out for them. Are you constantly rescuing someone from lessons they may need to learn? That's what God keeps trying to tell us. What would happen if you stopped? What would happen if you stopped fixing it? They would learn how to fix it themselves. What are you afraid would happen to them if you just allow them to go through their own struggle? What are you afraid that they'll think about you? Who cares? This episode is sponsored by the R.E.S.T Experience Coaching Program, created for the woman who's ready to stop managing the symptoms and get to the root of what's keeping her stuck. Because sometimes you don't need another motivational quote. You need to unearth it, uproot it, and destroy the things that have been holding you in place. It's time to release every single thing so you can reset, reboot, reload, and rescuing them could actually be interrupting something God is trying to teach them. You cannot release someone from consequences. God gives them to all of us. God may be using you to develop them and maybe teach them, but He's not using you to fix it for them. So what is actually yours? There are things God assigned to you. There are times when there are responsibilities about them that belong to you, but that takes discernment. It is not an automatic, let me dive in there. It's not an assuming that God, as a believer, God just wants you to help everybody. And the answer isn't abandoning them on everything. The answer is discernment. Discernment. Galatians 6:2 says, bear ye one another's burdens. But later in 6:5, it says, for every man shall bear his own burden. There is a biblical distinction between helping one another and assuming responsibility for what another person is supposed to carry. So what has God genuinely entrusted to you in this season? What responsibilities are actually yours? Where have you crossed from helping into carrying? It's like somebody coming home and they have a whole bunch of groceries. You don't run and say, I'm taking all your groceries. You go ahead in the house, since you went all through the store and you put all the stuff in the basket. You paid for everything. You go ahead. You go ahead in the house and I'll bring all your groceries in. I'm not talking about your spouse or your children helping you and bringing the stuff in. I'm talking about your neighbor running up because they see you bought all this stuff. Now they're going to take all your stuff in the house and you don't even have to carry a loaf of bread. Does that make any sense? It doesn't. So why do we do that in life in helping people? Why do we choose to carry the whole entire load and God can't build no muscle in them? Because you know the loads you carry, you held your arms out carrying a bag, you build muscle. You carry burdens, you build muscle. But if the one who's building all the muscle is you, the person you're trying to rescue will never have a muscle. And in the middle of a storm, when you're not around to help them, guess what? They won't know what to do. So it might be better that we walk alongside them, giving advice at times and backing away. Sometimes just simply asking them, well, what do you think you should do? I don't know. Well, think about it. What do you think will be best for you? Put the ownership on them to do what needs to be done. What you are neglecting that is yours, because you got to consider, while you're taking care of their stuff, you are neglecting something that God has assigned to you. You're so exhausted carrying their stuff, you can't even accomplish your purpose. You can't even accomplish what God has assigned to you because you are too focused on carrying somebody else's stuff. We're not going to be about that life no more. What would become possible if you reclaim the energy you've spent managing everybody else? What could you finally carry well if you put down what never belonged to you? So here we are. I leave you with this. Put it down. Put it down. Release it. Let it go. Release it. Let it go. I want to ask you a question. What comes to mind as you're listening to this episode? What comes to mind as you hear me telling you to put it down? Is this confirmation? Is this conviction? Is this God speaking to your heart? Is this coming to you again? And maybe I'm somebody who's coming to you after someone else has said it to you already. Because God allows us to sow seeds and then somebody else comes and waters. And God gives the increase. So whether I am the one who's sowing the seed or I am the one who's watering it, what's coming to your mind right now? Whose name is coming to your mind? Whose name is coming up in your mind you need to set boundaries for? The person that you have helped so much that they can't learn the lesson because you're the one who's learning the lesson, not even teaching the lesson because you won't allow them to participate. Here you come rescuing. What situation immediately made you uncomfortable as I'm talking? Because I know that it's sticking, it's pricking somebody. And if it's not pricking you, maybe you need to be sharing it with somebody else. So I want you to consider this today. If you put it down, what guilt would you have to comfort? What boundary might you need to establish? What if putting it down isn't abandonment, it's just obedience? It's giving you a lot of questions that you can pause. You can pause and ask yourself. Screen is freezing. Hope I didn't lose connection while I'm talking to you. What have you been carrying so long that you've forgotten what life feels like without it? If you put it down, what guilt would you have to confront? Start digging that stuff up. What boundary might you need to establish? Start thinking about it. What if putting it down doesn't mean it's abandonment? What if it's just obedience? You don't need God to strengthen you to do everything. You need him to give you discernment to know what belongs to you and what belongs in your hands and what belongs in somebody else's. Baby, I'm telling you, if God didn't give it to you, you have permission to put it down. Say it with me. I am going to put it down. I'm taking names. I'm taking names today. I'm taking names. I'm taking situations that I'm not going to participate in. I'm setting boundaries. I'm learning to say no. I've got to do it. That's it for your Nugget Drop today. Thanks for joining me. These allergies, y'all pray for me because these allergies have been working a sister. Keep breathing, keep believing, keep becoming. You don't have to carry everything just because you're strong enough to pick it up. Put it back down. Before you pick it up, ask God, is this something I'm supposed to pick up? Is this something I'm supposed to leave? Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me today for the Nugget Drop, a part of the Rest Movement podcast. I'm so glad you spent some time with me, and I pray that this nugget is one that you've placed in your basket. I hope you've taken enough nuggets that you have some to share. God bless you. Healing is my hustle. I love you so much, and there's nothing you can do about it. See you later. Bye. Thanks for joining me on the Nugget Drop, a part of the R.E.S.T Movement podcast. Remember to keep breathing, keep believing, and keep becoming. See you next time.